Hello and welcome to the Trade of the Week webinar for today, March 11th. My name is Scott Olson, Director of Marketing at Trade Ideas. I want to thank everybody for signing up for the webinar and attending today. Your host is Dan Merkin, CEO and founder of Trade Ideas. Dan?
Thank you, Scott, and I want to thank everybody for taking their time and joining us on the Trade of the Week webinar. Let me start off with just a quick disclaimer that we always say on every webinar, just to make sure that everybody understands that the information that's being provided here is for information purposes only, and that Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor, and this is not should not be considered registered investment advice. While you're quickly perusing the disclaimer, a quick bit of history. Trade Ideas has been in business since 2002, and we have just grown over the years and gotten better and better at the process of analyzing financial data. And we're bringing you those insights partly in the form of the Trade of the Week, for which we're really excited that you guys are all participating in and get to share this information with you, because we think it's very valuable. This is a showcase piece for us, a showcase of what our analytics and our technology is able to do. So again, thank you. Again, please continue getting the Trade of the Week. It's going to hopefully get better and better. So today we're going to cover the first two parts of the presentation in where we discuss some of the analysis that goes behind the Trade of the Week concepts and how our technology can really help you get to where you need to go faster, because at the end of the day, it really is all about capturing alpha, which is being able to do better than the averages, better than your competitors. You can only do that if you have access to better information, and that's what we bring as to our customers who are subscribers, and that's also, of course, what we provide to showcase our technology and Trade of the Week for free. So we also, whenever we do these webinars, we have special offers, and we're going to discuss those offers. Scott's going to come in and tell everybody what we're going to be doing, and then I'll follow up. And of course, we're also going to have a question and answer session. So let's jump right into it. Finding the probability windows. How important is it to really know what's going to happen, and how do we even know if anything will or won't happen? Part of it is certainly that you have to know what it is that you're looking at. And the reason I have this slide, and hopefully you understand that this is one of the more prominent illusions, optical illusions that your eyes play on you. What's interesting, again, is that even when you know what the illusion is, you can still fall for it. And so part of what Trade Ideas brings to the table is putting some of the more clear advancements in how people process information, factoring that into allowing us to do what computers do best and allowing humans to do what we do best. Well, again, hopefully this example shows you that one of the things that we don't do very well is recognize patterns visually, because our eyes are so designed to make sense of something. There's just been a tremendous amount of work in this field in science, and here's another example. There's just so many different ways in which your eyes can get fooled. And when you process information in the marketplace, just like when you're looking at a chart or you're looking at this man's face and you're trying to figure out how it is it that I'm seeing both of these things at once, you're always potentially falling for this exact same trap whenever you're looking at a picture of a graph on a chart. The problem is that the trap is much better because it's not as obvious as this picture once you really start to see it. So part of what Trade Ideas does and what we try to provide to all our customers is an understanding that there's a scientific numerical way to look at data, and then there's a visual way to look at data. For us, we believe that the scientific numerical way at looking at data gives us the best opportunity for insight. And insight is basically the ability to capture alpha. In other words, get to a stock before it starts to go higher and ride it as it's going higher, or vice versa, sell a stock when it's high and then buy it back when it's low. So in the trade ideas environment, our software, when we're doing trade of the week, when we're helping all of our customers who are in 65 different countries process data, what we're doing is we are looking at all of these illusions from a numerical point of view where the computer does not get stuck. And the kind of patterns that we are trying to find underneath the data, which includes social data, volume data, and time data combined at the same time, so that again, we're looking at a 5-minute chart, at a 1-minute chart, at a 10-year chart all together at the same time. This is the advantage of having Trade Ideas cloud-based server-side technology, looking for the type of patterns that really do have some statistical insight. So again, hopefully you like the entertainment. And ultimately, once you know what it is that you need to find, then you play Moneyball with it. For those of you that don't remember the Moneyball movie, it's when you apply hardcore statistics to see what really can you do to outperform. So in essence, what we have with Trade Ideas is an artificial intelligence engine that sits in our database and is always looking at the stock market kind of from a Moneyball perspective. It can't do everything. It's not like a Terminator where it just runs around and does everything all by itself. That's silly, and that's not how you should consider artificial intelligence technology. But what it does do is it allows us, the humans, to come up with a theme or a concept, and then the computers do an incredibly good job of isolating what in that concept could be much improved and reevaluated to create a better picture of something that might have some real statistical odds behind it. So before we jump into all of that, what I want to do real quick is I want to kind of first give everybody an introduction to some of the promotions that we have for this webinar. So I'm going to jump to the slide 8. And again, whenever we do these webinars, and for everybody that is a Trade of the Week recipient and is on our list, first of all, we want to say that there's absolutely no obligation for you to be a customer of Trade Ideas as a licensee. We're just saying that we really do appreciate that you receive our information. But should you want to kind of take it to the next level and see what you can really do with applied artificial intelligence, we have promotions that are really incentivized to help you through the learning curve, get everything kind of dialed in so you can really take advantage of this technology in the long term. We hope to be just like your, well, I don't want to say cable company because they could be getting unplugged, but the idea is a utility, your data analytics utility. So again, there's a promotion code, MAR11 webinar. You put that in and you get all of the 30% discount codes for any of these products. Our 1-month trial, our recurring $75, and some of our other options. Okay, so we'll come back to some of this at the end and, of course, answer more questions. Let's jump right into the idea. So here's something simple that I want everybody to see. You start off with a concept that you can relate to, and then a computer can help you refine. So if you look at my screen, this is a chart of CVTI. It's the daily chart. Again, remember, we are not trying to be super fast traders. This is not for high frequency. This is about finding opportunity, an opportunity that hopefully you're able to ride for a little bit of time and capture a significant return. So a simple, often confused and overlooked simple concept is a surge of volume. A surge of volume typically happens when a disruption of supply and demand happens in the market. Some news comes out and possibly the financial dynamics of the company change. So when that happens, all of this volume starts to come in. And when it comes in, people react to it. And here in this case for CVTI, you can see there was a very large volume spike. And then after the information was processed, even on a pullback, which was quite severe, the stock continued to just move higher and higher and higher. And there's been several signatures like this where you see an unusual volume spike, and then after that unusually high volume spike, the stock continued to move higher. And finally, as we get to today, a very, very large volume spike and a very, very large move to the upside. So the idea is, can we find this type of information? And the answer is, of course we can. So I'm going to get out of presentation mode and take you to a screen that I had made so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So here's a window called a surge of volume. So this is our idea, and I'm going to the history of it. And the idea is really quite active. So you can see, like, what does it look like when all sorts of different stocks are trading an unusual amount of volume. All of a sudden a volume surge comes in. There's usually some sort of volume right here, and sometimes, not all the time, a commensurate price action. And again, tons of information, okay? Tons and tons of, this is just today. So this is when we go back to that example of, illusions. And how do you figure out, like, well, what is and what isn't working? Well, this is where the computer at Trade Ideas and our, especially, again, the way we have created and built our own custom database where that has the AI in it where we can ask of these questions. And we can say, okay, so you have all of this data when these events take place. Why don't you tell me what happens if I go along this event and I get out 5 days later? Okay, so that's what a simulation looks like. Okay, and in terms of the raw data for the idea, the summary is right here so that everybody can see. I'm going to just kind of shrink it up and put it right here. We're looking for a volume surge anywhere where there's been at least 100,000 shares traded in the last 5 days. The stock has to be just up from the close and in the upper 40% of its trading range for the year. And we're avoiding ETFs and things like that because we're just looking at stock. So that's the summary of our idea. And again, I just wanted to explain that that's kind of simple, volume surge without a ton of other side information. And then we go and we ask the computer, so what happens 5 days later? Okay? And I do the simulation. So the computer is running. This is where, again, the whole value of what we bring to the table as a research and an analytics company really comes to a point. Because as you're seeing our servers kind of crunch the numbers, do their thing, in the back end, in our server facility in San Diego, our AI just ran through 1,760 trades. where this event took place and in one stock, and then it went long and held it for 5 days. So this occurred over the last 60 days, 1,760 times, out of which 51% went your way and 49.9 didn't. But your winners were better than your losers, and I mean, obviously this is not anything that you could simulate, but the idea here is that right away the computer tells you that, hey, you know what? I mean, you're heading in the right direction. So then we have a special mode where we are able to go to the optimization tab and really dig in and see where are the statistics, how and what can I see that can help me do even better. And we can also ask for help from artificial intelligence engine itself to do it. So in this case, I've already asked it for the help. And the result was a surge of volume with AI. Same thing, a little bit of less information. And we go to the odds maker and we're going to test it. Oh, whoops, I'm sorry, I pressed it for the intraday. My bad. Sorry about that. I did it for 45 minutes. And again, notice you can quickly adjust and see what it is that you did and why it is you did it. So quickly I was able to see what was going on. And here, the computer said, hey, there's a completely different way to approach it. You know, not everything you're going to do is going to go your way, but the ones that are going to go your way are going to be twice as big as the ones that don't. And this is just one of the examples of, again, you know, the type of information that we can bring to the table to show you what it is that you can do when you have access to massive computing power. Remember, we went through 1,700 possible scenarios because, again, what people don't realize is the market is very active and tons of information is coming through, and in order to really process all the data, you have to have something that's watching everything in real time. Let me move that out of the way. So one of the other ways that we address the trade ideas trade of the week is we have a channel called the Now Trending channel. And what's kind of really cool about this channel is that as time goes by, new trades of the week are added. So this is a channel that's dedicated completely to this kind of longer-term technology, where what we're trying to do is we're really trying to constantly look at players that have the potential to really take it to another level. Again, in this case, it's not always correct. I mean, you don't always go into everything that the computer suggests, because again, sometimes they don't work out. But here, this whole channel is dedicated specifically to the trade of ideas, trade of the week concepts, which are concepts where, excuse me, over the longer term, you're looking for these large breakouts on the volume surge, just like we have kind of discussed, but with a little bit of secret sauce at the end where our computer looks at a much longer term time frame. And here, you're having a whole channel dedicated to this, so you can quickly see which one of these stand out and which one of these, you know, really position themselves as a buying opportunity. You know, again, whether it's from January 1st or whether it's for the year. And this channel also, again, gives you new ways to trade around the trade of the week candidates, where you can, again, set price targets, have more quick type of information, like when something's happening after hours for your specific group, you're going to right away know that Intel, for example, made some sort of climactic move up today. And so right away you can see it. This is just one of the ways that we can help everybody process the market in a more fluid, more dynamic way, where information is kind of coming to you. And it's terribly sorry for the cough. And the trade of the week candidates, what we believe, again, separates them is they kind of have to get on this channel, they kind of have a mixture of a lot of these different elements, whether it's the social media, having to have a certain percentage up for the year, a certain type of dividend. They have the most potential for the explosive move that all of us are looking for. Let me switch back to the presentation really quickly, just so that everybody can go and again, be aware of what the promo codes are, which is MAR11 webinar. And I'll quickly introduce you to also one of the best promotions that we've ran since we've been in business for 10 years, 12 years. And the promotion is we're doing a $799 offer where it includes a full year of trade ideas and the access to this backtesting engine, the one that you can test any idea and see if that idea makes sense or if it does not make sense. And again, there's really no other type of tool like that. This is where you really can and hopefully do get the benefit of really outperforming anyone else's ideas, because you've got the numbers behind you. So that's the strategy. And by the way, you will, for anybody who signs up today, you will get a complete AI surge with artificial intelligence help that's based on this. So it's, again, like a more refined version of the trade of the week that will give you more opportunities, and also, again, slightly shorter time frames if you need to have more of your cash on hand. So $7.99, this is really one of the more amazing deals that we do. Okay, so
Dan,
yes.
Yeah, you might want to mention that for the $7.99 deal, they need to go to that URL you were showing, which is the bit.ly link.
That's right.
bit.ly/TOW799. That'll take you directly to the page where you can purchase it from with that package. And the promo code for MAR11 webinar is going to expire on Friday. So if you want to save that 30% on either one of the monthly or other recurring subscriptions or even the odds maker, you want to use that promo code, all caps, MAR11 webinar, and use that before Friday. Thanks, Dan. Go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Scott. I really appreciate it. So quickly, one of the things that that's important for us to convey is that with trade ideas, we're really see ourselves more as the platform, like a knowledge platform, where we can apply science and hardcore data crunching to see what it is that right now is providing the best source of alpha. That's part of what you get for free with trade of the week. But we have, again, other things that we bring to the table, like creating custom channels for some of the hottest stocks on the planet right now. An example is the biotech sector. This is the kind of information where, look at the movement that's happening here. It's very important to understand. Of course, trade of the week is fantastic, especially if it works and you get a significant return over the long term. But as a proper speculator, you also have to allocate resources to things that really are in motion right now, and there's nothing more in motion than the biotech sector. And we have a whole channel that's dedicated to it, to its pulse. And it's the same thing where you can take a strategy, any strategy in the biotech sector, ask our computer for the same kind of volume surge assistance, and the computer will do it. And by the way, so that's also where Trade Ideas support comes into play, is that we work with you to assist you in the creation of strategies when it's time, so that you can really kind of understand how to create the foundation and then from which to ask the computer for help. So all of these channels are always there, available from anywhere in the channel bar. If you look at earnings, for example, we have a channel that's dedicated to everything that's either up with earnings today, down with earnings today, has earnings tomorrow, or is down with earnings tomorrow, and all sorts of different earnings-related events. And again, the key here is to just know where the action is, and then quickly be able to move back and forth so that you can allocate your attention properly. If earnings are interesting, you will quickly know what's coming up, why it's up or down, what does a good up move look like, what does bad down move look like, and you'll start to get a sense for where you'll start seeing these names not only in the in the earnings channels, but quickly relate to, like, oh, okay, I saw that stock. Well, that stock was also in the biotech channel, so it's doing both. So it's this full data delivery platform where some of the most interesting events and stocks that could possibly be looked upon are presented to you in the easiest way to look at it. And having the power to go back in time, test everything, test any event against historical data, and see, again, was there any statistical edge, and if there was, ask the computer to help you with that. It's just a completely different way of approaching technology. There are other products that let you backtest, but for the most part, you're limited to just a basket of stocks, and typically it's one at a time. And this is a totally different approach. It's called event-based testing, where the event is something that you come up with as a foundation, like a volume surge, and then you can test that concept throughout to see how would you do it, how well would you have done, so that at least you have the background data to be able to make the right decision. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause for a little bit, and I'm going to answer some questions. Hold on one second. Okay, so somebody was asking how do we show the statistics of the graph? I'll show you everybody real quick and just walk through it very, very slowly. So anytime you have a window that is showing you events that happen in real time, like, for example, this is the surge of volume, and I just call this is a name. And a window, an alert window, is something that you can configure. You can configure it by right-clicking, selecting configure, and doing all sorts of things like looking up events like new highs or lows, and there's tons to choose from, to filtering it on price, volume, earnings per share. Again, everything is searchable. Like you can type in fundamentals, and you can put anything and everything that you want into this. But the beauty and the difference is that the results come to you in real time. Okay, so in this case, for the summary of this window, I'll just repeat that it's a volume surge. In other words, when a stock is trading above its average daily volume, where the average is at least 100,000 shares a day. It's up from the close, and it's in the relative upper 40% of its trading range for the year. And to exclude ETFs, I added an earnings per share filter of $1, and I mean of 1/10 of a penny and up or down. So that's the window, okay, and that's what it looks like. So then we have an option called the odds maker, and the odds maker is the way you access our AI. So you click Run the Odds Maker, and here in the first part of the odds maker it says, well, when are you going to start doing this stuff? When are you going to start investing? So you can shift this around. I just kind of randomly said that I ignored the first 15 minutes because it's kind of really volatile and things are like all over the place, much more difficult to do any kind of trending things. That's where the high frequency trading is taking place. So I try to stay away from all that. And again, you can also say I don't want to take trades after a certain point. So you can say, okay, so my days I'm not going to initiate. So obviously you can tell I'm on West Coast time. So my market ends at 1 o'clock, but I'm only going to initiate trades between this window. Then on timed exits, meaning like I'm planning to swing trade this for 5 days, I'm going to get out at the market open in 5 days. So it's tomorrow plus 5 days at the open. Whoops, I mean at 4 days. Tomorrow plus 4 days at the open. I also have a stop loss for risk avoidance. I want to make sure that I'm not going to lose more than $1 plus a wiggle, which is a wiggle is $1 times the relative volume times the 15-minute volatility. That you can be averted to that in the alert window, and also that's available in some of our automated products. But the idea here is we can ask the computer to get us out in case something really starts going against you, theoretically, in the test. So then I simulate buy, and it's running through those concepts right now. And that graph is just an equity curve graph. Okay, so we modified a couple of things, and we had a system of 571 trades that was 53% successful, where the average winner was $1.68 and the average loser was $1.16. So you had a strategy return of 7.9% and a projected annual of 35 with the starting equity of 600,000. Again, that's kind of less relevant because you wouldn't be taking every single trade. You still apply discretion to this. You still say, hey, okay, the next one that's coming along, all things being equal, should have this this percentage. And then again, hopefully you apply some of your own intuition and trading skills, and that's where you can, again, make the decision on what you do or don't want to get into. That's the raw data, and then you can optimize that data by finding out, well, what prices could I use to eliminate possibly? What time of day should I do the trading? Is there a better time? And you can see like from 7:30 to 8 is actually your best time, but it was only 11% of the trades. And you can test every single filter. Every single possibility. You can do this, and you can exclude all the things that don't make sense. And then rerun it. And you would get a different equity curve and be able to adjust whatever you needed to adjust. You can also factor in different things like commission. Commission makes sense on the factor. Are you trading at Schwab, or are you trading at a more discount type of brokerage. We also factor in slippage. So every time you enter a trade here, you lose 5 cents, and the same thing every time you exit. One of the nicest features that we show you when we display these strategies is this calendar heat map, where you can basically go to any day in the calendar and see exactly what happened, why you got in, what were the price targets, what happened, based on the computer simulation. So you can kind of have an idea, like, wow, this day was a huge day where basically everything really went the way of the system, especially on MLM. So maybe even be more cautious to exclude possibly some of this. But again, you can see all the data, where it comes from. Same thing here. Look at this day. It's just you could not do anything to get it right. And this also teaches you that even when you have the power of statistics behind you, you should understand and expect to have losses. And one of the best things that Trade Ideas does with this technology and the way you see it is it sets up kind of like an expectation that, listen, you can get into an amazing system, and look at the first 3 days. You lost 2, lost 2, lost 1, kind of broke even, and only after 4 days did it really start going. Often what happens is people just expect that as soon as they get into something, it's going to be correct. And when we display data this way, and again, show things like drawdown and how you looked daily, it gives like a different way for you to kind of get a sense of expectations, that understand that maybe, you shouldn't just give up because, a piece of information was not to your liking. You have to give it a little bit of time to actually see if you can be rewarded. And this is the art form of successful speculation and investing with statistics behind you. Okay. Right now, the commissions that we have are a fixed price because we're primarily, for this modeling, we primarily cater this to a retail audience that doesn't, that isn't as concerned about commission. We are not saying that you are going to make, this is not, the idea of this like trade of the week type system is not to say that you are going to be making 571 trades. Not at all. The idea is to say that, hey, these guys went and did a whole lot of number crunching and found some stuff that might have an interesting success ratio. So I'm going to keep an eye on it and maybe filter it down a little bit more, or ask them to optimize it for me, and then turn it into a real signal strategy with some, again, where basically every alert is potentially something that you could trade. Yeah, so listen, for the commission, you could play around and put something like this, where, let's see here, where it basically takes it away. So here's, for 300 shares, your commission would be 20 cents. So it's really, again, it allows you to do what you need to do there. We have trailing stops that you can test. Here's what the AI had said based on, millions of data points. Trailing stops are terrible ways to capture alpha, because it's so difficult to have a proper trailing stop that factors in volatility. The best way to do it is a little bit more flow. You have to have both. There has to be some science, but also some feel for what a stop should or shouldn't be. And again, it's not a pure math thing because it factors in your equity, all these little things. It's like your little custom footprint or fingerprint. Okay, are there any other questions? Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to kind of just quickly go back to the PowerPoint and review the fact that, we started with the premise that our eyes are bad at pattern recognition, and I'm using these optical illusions to demonstrate that, a martini glass can look like a crotch, and your eyes kind of like are drawn to it, and it comes in different forms. And again, even when you see something, you can still be tricked by what you're actually seeing. Our way to approach this is to not look at it visually, but to look at it underneath. We do that by what I'd shown you with the odds maker, where you crunch all of the data and see, well, how would I have done if I had, if I had applied this strategy over the course of the last quarter? Try to test as many events as possible and then get to where you have a statistical edge. That's called playing the Moneyball, applying the statistics to all of the data points and letting the computer say, well, which data points are the most important? The fingerprints of all of this is the foundation. We start with some basic high-level assumptions, and they don't have to be like exactly this, but this is just a good starting point where you see a volume surge. It's a very big volume bar, and you ask the computer what happens in the future from these bars. Can we expect this behavior to continue? And our computers will give you the best answer for that. And that's the kind of information that, it really separates you in terms of the value that it can provide to your account. We kind of try to explain to people that in terms of what we are offering, it's, the price of a coffee, $2.18 a day, is access to our data farm so that you can ask the computer any question on what's working right now. And trust me, the computer is a better guesser than you and I. And hopefully our demonstration with the odds maker proved that. So for attending the webinar, we have some specials and promotions. This is the promo code called MAR11 webinar. And Scott, when does it expire again, just so that everybody knows?
Yeah, this offer is good until the end of business on Friday. So go ahead and use it before then if you want to take advantage of it.
Fantastic. If you want to get the best value that we bring to the table, where, again, you get access to everything, it's this. It's a $799 product. If you split this into $365, that's the $2.18 a day. We help you build the strategy that you can take advantage of, and we just give you full access to our technology, which is the best way of looking at market data. If you need to contact us, there's a lot of ways that you can get in touch, and it's super easy. We're very active on social media. At Trade Ideas 1 is myself. I'm the CEO. At Trade Ideas is our Chief Business Development Officer, David Afariat. We have a Facebook page. We always have an active chat room in our forums where people who are sharing our technology and utilizing our technology are trading in real time, and you can follow them. So we're really trying to, again, provide just a very rich way for you to process the information. And, of course, phone number if you need support. Marissa Hill, our Director of Client Education, is always there and available. Back to the promos. Just remember, as Scott had said before, you need to copy this bit.ly link. It's http //bit.ly.
Dan, they don't need to type HTTP anymore. It's 2015. Just
Whoops, my whole,
bit.ly
sorry guys.
slash bit.ly slash TOW799. And everyone who signed up for the webinar is also going to get all the details in their email within an hour or two following the end of the webinar. As soon as I get the video converted and uploaded to YouTube, I will include the product codes and links in the email that you will receive. Thanks everybody for attending. Go ahead, Dan.
Yeah, thank you everybody. Again, remember guys, it's keeping it simple. Starting with a premise and then asking the computer to play ball. It's that simple, and at the same time, you know, while the computer is doing all the number crunching behind the scenes, you are always having the ability to kind of let yourself go where you're, you know, what are humans good at? Subtle pattern recognition like this. It's a different type of thing. It's more like making quick decisions on the fly, like something will catch your attention. Like maybe it was something, just the fact that it was these 2Ds. It does not have to be like literally mathematical, but this is what we're good at. We let something catch our attention, quickly check it, and then move on. And say to yourself, okay, that was enough. You know, I didn't need anything else. Then, oh, game. Maybe it was just the word. Wow, you can say to yourself, look at that. A nice W bottom. That's, by the way, part of the joke. There's no such thing. But that's what we want to see. And the computer can hopefully help us find this aspect of it. So, again, I want to thank everybody for attending. We will continue the Trade of the Week program. Please feel no obligation to purchase anything. We just really enjoy the fact that you're with us and sharing our data. And if you do purchase Trade Ideas products, we will be there to support you and help you really take advantage of the market and all the opportunities that are there, kind of like the ones that are in game. Thank you again, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks, everybody.